demo, we are going to be going over the changes for zip codes due to the KomRI Act legislation. The first thing you'll want to do as a school is check to make sure your address is correct within the VA Once system. To do this, we go up to the top of the screen to the school detail. You will see all of the schools where you have access to certify. To check your address, click on the first one in the list, and you'll see the school data on this page. The zip code is the most important part. So you will see the zip code here is 20420. If this is the zip code where your main campus is, and the majority of the students take their classes at this main zip code, then you're good to go. If this address is incorrect, please contact your ELR and have them update your school address in VA Once. If you need to check a second school where you certify students, you may click the right arrow at the top right section of the screen. This will take you to the next facility code where you have access to certify students. Again, check to make sure the zip code is correct, and if incorrect, please contact your ELR. Once you have checked your zip codes, you may then go into the maintenance section of VA Once. To do so, click Admin on the left side of the screen. And then at the top of the screen, click on Maintenance. This is where you would usually enter your standard terms and standard remarks. A new option has been added to add a zip code location. Click on zip code location and you'll be taken to a screen where you can add your different zip codes. So if you have students attending the main campus and you also have a satellite facility in a town over, or one of your buildings is located in a different zip code, you would enter those extra zip codes here. To add a new zip code, click Add at the top of the screen. Enter the new zip code and a zip code location description. This description is for your use only, and it will help you when selecting where the student is taking classes so that you do not have to memorize all of your zip codes. Once you have entered the zip code and the zip code location description, you can click Save. You'll also notice that you can order your zip codes. So if you have students that attend one zip code more than any other, you can put that at the top of your drop-down list. For instance, if you want the main campus to be listed first, you would highlight the main campus, change the order number to number 1, and click Save. Now when you go to your drop-down menu, the main campus will be the first in the drop-down list. If you are entering a new certification for a student that is taking all of their classes on your main campus, the zip code on the school detail page, nothing has changed in the way you certify this student. You will go to the CERT page and click New. Enter the term dates and the hours as you usually do. The only thing different on this page is that you will see an Hours by Zip Code button. If all classes are being taken at the main zip code, you do not need to do anything different. You will just go to the top and click Submit for the term to be submitted. The format of the 1999 enrollment certification has changed due to the zip code. So now when you click to print, you'll see that the total hours and dates are listed here in the main section. And there is a new section which then breaks out the hours by zip code. So you'll see in this example, 12 hours are taking at 20420, the main campus. You'll also notice that this zip code for the main campus matches that printed down below in the school information. If you are certifying for a student who is taking some hours at your main campus and some distance hours, again, nothing has changed. You will enter the residence hours and the distance hours and submit. Since the distance hours are not being taken at the main zip code, you'll see on the certification that the distance hours are at 99999. This is the default zip code for all distance hours and classes taken overseas. If you do have a student taking classes at more than one zip code, when you do the certification, you will enter the total number of hours as you usually do on this main page. Then you will click the Hours by Zip Code button. A new pop-up will appear. This zip code pop-up always shows what you put on the main page in this center section, so that you do not have to move the box to see what you entered originally. The default is to the main campus. So when you first enter the page, the 12 hours will be at the main campus. If the student is taking only 6 hours at the main campus, you will just change this residence hours from 12 to 6. And then click Save. The grid at the top will then show the zip code for the main campus and 6 residence hours. To add a new zip code, you would click New in the top left corner. You will then select where the second set of 6 hours is being taken. Choose the zip code from the drop-down and enter the number of hours. Click Save, and you will now see 6 hours at the Science Center and 6 hours at the main campus here. The total number of hours should always be equal to the total number of hours from the main page. If these do not match, and you try to submit the certification, you will receive an error message. If I click Done, with only 11 hours in the grid and 12 residents being entered, this is the error message that appears because the 11 and 12 do not match. you'll see that it says total residence hours on the zip code page must match with the hours on the certs page. Please correct. To correct, hours by zip code page. Change the hours to 6 and click Save. You'll now see that 6 and 6 equals the 12 that was entered. I can click Done and then submit this term on the main page. When I look at this enrollment certification, you can see for this term there are 12 total hours, 6 of which are being taken at the main campus, and 6 are being taken at the Science Center. If I have a student who is taking a term abroad, they are taking all of their hours outside of the country. You would enter the term as usual on the certs page, and then click Hours by Zip Code. You'll see the default, again, is to the main campus, 12 hours. But this student will be in France, for example, taking classes there. Click the Term Abroad button. You will receive a message that says clicking the Term Abroad button will change the zip code for these hours, and the student will be paid the overseas rate. If the student is taking their classes overseas, you can click OK. If they are not, you can cancel and return to adjust the zip code as appropriate. If they are taking classes overseas, click OK. You'll see in the grid the zip code has now been changed to all 9s, and the description is Term Abroad. Click Done and Submit. When you now print the certification, you will see that the 12 hours are at zip code 99999. The description, when you print the certification, will be term abroad. The description is not submitted to the VA, so the claims examiners will not see the zip code description, but they will see the zip codes you have entered. If you have submitted a term and then later realize that the student is not taking classes at the main campus, you may now amend that term to correct the zip code. The amend functionality is the same, so that you cannot increase or decrease hours on an amendment, but you can change the begin date, end date, tuition and fees, and now zip code. When you do your amendment, click on the Hours by Zip Code button. And here you can change the zip code from the main campus to whichever campus the student is taking the 12 hours. Be sure to click Save anytime you make a change. If all 12 hours are at the Science Center, you can click Done and submit the certification. If these 12 hours are actually not all at the main campus or at one other campus, you can change the hours so that they match where the student is taking courses. So if on the original certification I submitted 12 hours at the main campus, and later I find out that the student is taking 6 hours at the Science Center and 6 hours at the Northwest campus, I can change the hours to 6 at the Science Center, click New, and enter 6 hours at the Northwest campus. Now I have a total of 12 hours at 2 different campuses that are not the main campus. Click Done, and then Submit. When you print the certification, you'll see the 12 hours that were certified and the breakdown of 6 hours at the Science Center and 6 hours at the Northwest campus. The amendment remark will be automatically inserted. If I need to do an adjustment to hours and the student is taking classes at more than one zip code, you will need to tell the VA which zip code the hours were dropped. You will go and do an adjustment and change the hours to the total number. As usual, select a reason for the reduction and the reduction date. Then click Hours by Zip Code. The number of hours from the main page is listed in the middle. In this scenario, it is 9. The middle of this pop-up also always tells you what action you are taking. So this says an adjustment is being done. Select at which campus the student dropped the 3 hours, the Science Center or the main campus, and then click Adjust. A new row will be added in the Hours by Zip Code section. Change the hours from 6 to 3. And click Save. Now you will see the total hours are 3 at the Science Center and 6 at the main campus. The 6 and 3 equal the 9 on the adjustment. So you can click Done and Submit on the main page. The format for the 1999B, Notice of Change in Student Status, has also changed. And gives a breakdown by zip code. So you'll see originally 12 hours were certified for the term 8:15 to 12:15 with 6 hours at the main campus and 6 hours at the Science Center. Now an adjustment has been made. The student is now at 9 hours, 6 of which are being taken at the main campus, and 3 of which are being taken at the Science Center. Again, anytime you have a student that is taking hours at more than one zip code and they make an adjustment, you need to make sure you tell the VA at which zip code the student dropped classes. In this example, I'll show a student taking classes at 3 different zip codes. The student is taking 4 hours at the main campus. Four hours at the Science Center. And 4 hours are being taken at a residency at St. Mary Hospital. Once I've entered all the zip codes and the corresponding hours, and they are equal to the number of hours in the center section, I will click Done and then Submit. When printed, the certification will have 12 hours total and 4 at each of the 3 different zip codes. If the student were to decrease their hours, you would go to Cert Adjust, enter the new number of hours and the reason, and since this person is taking classes at 3 different zip codes, click the Hours by Zip Code button. Select the zip code at which the student reduced hours, and then click Adjust and change the hours accordingly. This student is reducing from 12 hours to 10 hours. Once I am sure the hours and the zip codes are all correct and that they match the number of hours from the main page, click Done and then Submit. The certification, again, shows the original 12 hours and the reduction to 10, and the hours for each individual zip code.